To Damien with Unltd.
Unltd. Come on up.
Good morning. How is everybody doing?
Woo!
Well, my name is Damien Bennett, and the company I'm presenting to you guys today is called Unltd. So before I get into this part, I want to tell you a little bit about why I started this. So around my senior year of high school, I was like, I was a basketball player. I was like 6 foot, 135 pounds. That's not college worthy. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I said, okay, what do I like? What do I enjoy? And I realized music was my passion. I really loved music and also helping artists. So I said, let's try to start a record label. Didn't know what I was doing. Well, I just started it out. So over time, I got about 3 artists. And over time, the challenges that I realized is that these artists have high barriers to entry when it comes to on-demand streaming services, and also the ability to share that content with communities is also a high barrier of entry because of the platforms being so separate. So I said, what could solve this problem? What is the possible thing that could ease this tension for both the artist and the fan? So I said, let's create what you call a social streaming service. So a social streaming service is the combination of an on-demand streaming service and a social media network. And what this gives is a platform for both the artist and the fan to monetize their on-demand content and their social profiles through a tipping system. So when it comes to both streaming and social media, these are the biggest problems. And to begin, streaming is not profitable. There are huge companies with hundreds of millions of users, but none of them are profitable. Why? They're controlled by the record labels. The record labels take between 50 and 60% of all of their fundings before anything because of upfront licensing costs. So with that, the reason they're not profitable also is because there's no socializing. You can't share this content amongst a large group of people without getting striked with a copyright. When you view a piece of content on YouTube or a thing of that nature in a, what they call a reaction, in a live reaction, a lot of these pages get hit with copyright. And it's like, why? This is gaining exposure for the company, these are gaining exposure for the artist, and it's a positive aspect for that whole community. Next is there's no ability to sharing. That goes hand in hand with socializing. When you want to actually share your content on a platform, you have different communities that you have to always sort of adhere to. You have your Facebooks, you have your Twitter, you have your Instagram, and all of these people have different things that they enjoy and like, so that then disperses your energy and forces you to kind of dwindle down your actual potency in a way, so that you can gain a large group of following that necessarily may not even be your true following, but it clicks because it's what is available to you. Next, there's a middleman. You have publishing companies, you have record labels who take between 30 to 45 to 50+% of all of the artist's revenue. And then in return, that streaming service is giving out 7/1000ths of a cent per stream. 7/1000ths of a cent, what is that? Like, really, what is that? So, if you look at streaming, you say, that's a really limited model. To only have a royalty payment that's 7/1000ths of a cent, and you give away 60% of that each time, what are you gonna do on the long term? That's a short-term model, not a long-term model. So when you look at the social media sector, you see that with these large platforms, they own all of our data. So when you go to share your data, it's not your data, it's Facebook's data, it's Instagram's data. Well, Instagram is Facebook's data, so they all flow together. So what we see is that these users need to own their content. Therefore, they can monetize it, share it, remix it, collaborate, and create a different type of social platform despite something that's just commodity attention. Something that you can actually go on and create some sort of change because you own and can monetize that content in ways that aren't available now. That leads me straight into that, monetization. That's completely not existent when it comes to social platforms. The actual platform is making billions and billions of dollars by selling this data to advertisers. but these users are just sitting there giving it away and not getting anything in return. When in reality it should be a partnership. The user should be able to put out a piece of content, and instead of going viral by a like or a retweet, you could simply say, okay, who really supports my message? And put your money behind it. And the tip can be anywhere between 25 cents or $100 plus. It has no minimum and it has no maximum. It's just how you feel as though you want to support that creator. So, how will Unlimited solve this problem? Because when I think of an analogy, I say how the radio allows, artists and record labels to get their content out to a large variety of a fan base. Unlimited does the same, but we give the artist complete control. We look to that tipping system. It eliminates a complete royalty model. And with that royalty model comes copyrights. But when you utilize a tipping system, everyone opts in to say, okay, I'm coming in here to know that this content is available for free. It's free to use for all of the users, but there's a possibility that I can be monetized for it. Granted that I can put out content good enough to garnish a tip. Also, we say the merging. The merging is seamless. When you have your streaming, you don't stream by yourself. You share it with someone. Even when you watch Netflix, you may have a list that you say, hey, Mom, did you see that movie yet? And she may have a Netflix account also, and you'll share it to her. And now she'll watch it, and she'll recommend it to someone else. It works just like that with music. Music is a social environment. It's something that you can't do by yourself. Everyone understands music. It's a universal language. So these two things should be merged together so that there's a seamless path to both sharing and consuming. Next, we want everyone to own their data. We see no reason for us to own the data. We don't want it. It's too much of a hassle. It costs so much money, and we feel as though you guys are definitely responsible enough to make sure that you guys are in control of your data and doing what's right with it. That also allows you to be able to share it amongst anyone. You can tell an advertiser, no, I don't want you advertising to me because you own that data, and they can't just randomly just send you something that you didn't completely ask for on Facebook. Next is the accountability. With ownership comes accountability. If you're gonna own your stuff, we're expecting both ourselves as a platform and also the users to be accountable for everything within the platform. This creates a responsibility level that kind of flows outside of just the platform and into an actual real world situation. These platforms are kind of, in a way, reflecting everything that's going on in the world. So if we can kind of create, what I want to call it, paradigm changes that give people the ability to change their habits without them realizing, just by being in an environment that is constantly reiterating those values and things of that nature. Next, with the streaming, we're allowing everyone to have the ability to upload free of charge with no middleman, no publishing fee, none of that. We feel as though this is important because when you take a look at a platform like SoundCloud, they're very successful. They have literally the most users in all of the streaming platforms, but they're one of the least unsuccessful. They're one of the least successful because they have this automatic uploading, but there's no monetization. And they waited about 3 years ago, they finally monetized their platform after they was out for like 11 years. And after you give your users that much free content for that long, it's just not gonna work. But the free upload works perfectly. It shows with YouTube and things like Apple Music that bury the entry. You don't get a very diverse amount of content if you have these middlemen who control who releases and who doesn't release. So, a little bit about my team, about these guys. So, Brendan, actually, funny story how I met Brendan. I actually go to ECPI, I'm in school for software development. And one day, his mom was in my class. So we were just talking and she was like, what do you do? I was like, well, I'm working on this company. And she said, well, what type of company is it? And I said, it's a social streaming service, it's a software company. I knew she wouldn't understand it if I went too deep into it, so I was like, it's a software company. She said, software? My son does software. And I said, you really? I don't have a team member, so do you want to like text him for me right now? She was like, yeah, sure. She texted him. I was like, well, tell him if he can come work for me, if he can really put the work in, give me like a year, I'll pay him double the salary that he has now. So he was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. So from here, we've been working together, and he's helped me a whole lot to accelerate that path. Because I mean, we've been at this for like 2 years before we got a team member. So he's accelerated it by far a lot, and I greatly appreciate him. Next, that's my uncle. That's my uncle, David Bennett. He's the executive director for Charleston Parks and Recreation, and he's been really helping me with sort of understanding the true business aspect of it. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm more of a dreamer. I like to really get that vision out there and work with people who can help me bring that dream to life. He's kind of put me back on the boat to not just jump in the water, you know, like understand what you're doing first and then gradually move and learn more and more and more. So yeah, these guys are amazing, and hopefully we can gain more team members over time. So when it comes to competition, as you can see, this is very stacked up over here. And I separated into the finite and the infinite. So when you look at the finite, it's the now, it's what everyone's doing right now. And that would be cool to compete there. It would make sense to understand that they exist, but to compete there would be depth. We'd be a small fish in a very, very small pond with very, very big fish. So instead of doing that, we look to just compete with evolution, the evolution of these services. Whatever the actual platform, the service that we're giving, we don't need to worry about how we're doing it, we just need to worry about how the user wants it done. So we just evolve over time into what they are leading towards and things they're trending towards, and simply sort of besting ourselves, because we feel as though we aren't really in competition with these people, because if they were to try to do the things that we were to do, they would have to change their entire infrastructure. They would have to readjust everything that they do in a way that would cost them billions of dollars, would cost them years and years of time. And we see as though we have a head start even at infancy. So from here, we're no longer competing with them, we're just competing with time and the evolution of these services and what they'll eventually become over time. So how will we make money? So we are a freemium service, and we're a freemium service in a different way than most services. When it comes to streaming service, the term freemium comes when you have the ability to stream music for free with advertising, or you have the ability to pay for it monthly. We're not doing that. We feel as though when it comes to paying for streaming, if you try to give it for free for too long, it's not feasible over time. They'll get too used to that same trend, and then they'll never want to do it. And then when it's time to move on to a new free platform, they're gone with no problem, because they have no real loyalty to you unless you're bringing them true value. So them paying for it monthly isn't that high on their list. So we look to be a freemium service in the sense that the social media access is free of charge. You have the ability to post where you want, you have the ability to connect with communities, you have the ability to do all of these things, and also the streaming, it's $5. So it's half off what most services have. And the reason we can do that is because we don't have the royalty payments. We utilize the ticket system. So we have two areas that we gain revenue from. So we have two areas that we gain revenue from. So instead of just having one, whereas you have a 7,000%, which is like really 2,007% after you take that 60% out, then that's rough, right? So we have a more diverse revenue stream. And then lastly, we're doing influencer marketing instead of normal advertising, because we feel as though this expands the level of virality that we can actually reach. If we're connecting with influencers that have a large, diverse group of people who follow them, then we see that this eliminates our need to go and try to directly, what is it called? Target. Target specific people, when we can just target influencers and then they do the job from there for us. That is all. Yes, that's all. Who has the first question?
Let's give it up for Damien. All right, so we'll open it for Q&A. I see a hand already back there. I'm coming.
morning, Frank Wells. You mentioned diverse revenue model, so you've got the subscription model, $5 a month, I assume.
Yes.
And then the tip model. Do you take a portion of the
Yes.
tip?
We receive 33% of each tip.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Questions? Okay.
Good morning, Tim McVicker. I think you did an excellent job with your presentation. This is one of the best presentations I've seen here, personally. But so I have two questions for you. One, what do you need from us? And two, could you give us an idea of where you are in your business goals, your short and long-term goals?
Yes.
Just a high-level idea.
Yeah, for sure. So our biggest thing now is really lack of manpower. This is a project that is going to take more than a team of just 2 people focusing on it every day. So what I'm here for is really any leads or connections that you guys may have to, whether it's developers, people in the music business, any of those things of that nature, even advisors who understand the business aspect more, because we're looking to really grasp what do you call like a mastermind group, a group of people, because I don't have every skill. I can't do that, but I do want to put together a team of people who have different skill sets that can be beneficial to this. So anyone who feels as though they have skill sets or know someone who may have skill sets they may be beneficial, then we are definitely looking to work with them. And to your second question, we had a soft launch on the 13th for our just strictly streaming for just a limited amount of users. We had 75 users in 2 days, roughly 752 streams throughout those 2 days, but they broke our music player because it couldn't withstand that traffic. So at the moment now, we're working on developing a new music player, and it should be out by at least Friday or Sunday, between that time frame.
Who's next?
Hi, great presentation. My name's
Thank
Lori
you.
Cathcart. Right now you're focused on the music aspect specifically, but do you see yourself expanding to other type of streaming content?
Yes, video, content, live, all those things. We just feel as though right now we should strictly focus on the music because it's kind of a niche that we could really master and take over and then expand from there, because all that content flows together, but we'll give the user the ability to release those different forms over time.
Right, thank you.
No problem.
Hey, good job. You are a warrior, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Way to go. Hey, how about content management? When somebody puts a song out there that has explicit lyrics or lyrics that are from most society something very bad, let's say, something about children, or, how do you manage that process? Who's the one who's at the gate?
Yeah. See, there's no gate. There's just a big field. And once you step in that field, the users, we look at it as like an organism, right? When you have an organism and there's sort of like a virus that comes in the organism, the entire body will do something to weed it out. And then eventually it'll create a sort of callus that'll say, no, we're not going to allow this in anymore. We understand what works and what doesn't work, what's good and what's not good. So we don't see ourselves as the gatekeepers, we see the users as that gatekeeper. Because, if you look at current social platforms, there's a new trend that if you do something that's really against human values and morals, for lack of better words, they will destroy you. You will lose your job, you will lose your profile, and all of these things. So you have to sort of act in a certain way and carry yourself in a certain manner that's not currently used in other platforms, because there's no real sort of, I don't want to call it repercussions for anything people do.
Hey, good morning. My name is Alex. Good job presenting up there. I just wanted to ask a quick question. I'm still a little bit confused on exactly the model that you have. Is it possible for you to summarize it in like one sentence or 2 sentences? I get the idea it's like a social media streaming service, but again, I'm still a little bit hazy on some of the details, like what's in it for the consumer to go to your site and to pay $5 to stream it?
Yeah, so really it's that $5 to streaming, you're just supporting your favorite artist or artists that you may like or want to learn about over time. I mean, it's just like when you use Apple Music, there's really no true benefit for you using Apple Music besides you viewing content that you really like or you have the potential to like. But what we also add on, like I said, is the social media side. We monetize your social media, so this isn't just for the artist to be able to monetize the social media. It's for any user, and everybody makes memes. We all post something that's really funny, hoping that somebody will like it so much that it goes viral. We may not really say it, but if it happens, we're like, oh my God, we just went viral. So it's like, we now, instead of using that like or that retweet, we're just using the tipping model to actually give that user a new revenue stream that they never even had before.
I'm fascinated by the tip model. Did you study somewhere else? Did you find another business using that as a model? You know, in the restaurant industry, you pay what you can type thing. There's some places scattered around the country like that, but tell us a little more about that.
So the inspiration was really taken from just looking at people doing street performing. When you realize that there are like a lot of street performers that, you know, just get like walked by and things of that nature, but if you really look, like they always have like coins. And it's just, if over time, those coins add up. And I spoke to a guy, he was out downtown. He was there for like about 3 days, Friday to Sunday. And he was just getting quarters, but he walked away with about $50, $60. So it's like, I said, what makes kind of sense? What would happen if you did that like on a global scale? Like what would happen if you did that with a large group of artists? So I said, okay, if you do, let's say you get 25 cents per tip and you have 6,000 streams. You're walking away with about 32, 40 something thousand dollars before we receive about 30%. After that, you're still receiving about 11, 13. With that, that's way more than you would receive if you were getting that normal royalty payment, because it's inefficient for the current model. You have, in 2016, there was 1 trillion streams total, 1 trillion. But if you were to do that math with that 7,000 cent, that math doesn't add up. So it's just it's less reliable in a way, people would say. If you were to ask record labels, like, why would I want to have the opportunity to might get a tip? Why would I not want that automatic royalty payment? But in reality, it's more beneficial over time if you're actually doing the work to gain that loyal customer fan base.
Hi, I'm Juliet. Great job. Okay, I'm thinking about with the tipping, so somebody's gonna store their credit card information. Is that stored at a third-party vendor, or are you responsible for that? How does that work? How do I pay you?
Yeah, so you'll be using, right now we're using PayPal for now, just so that it's just the safest way for us right now. We don't have the resources and the skill set to really manage all those things, but eventually we feel as though we're trying to find a way to where the user can store that in their own database, which we're saying everybody owns their content, so we don't really want to hold any of that data, just have access to it when it's time to actually access that.
So I had kind of the same question of what exactly it was. I'm Steven, so sorry. Of what exactly it was that you did, but you said something that caught my attention is like you saw the street artists and people were giving them 25 cents, whatever. Growing up in DC, that's what we would do. You go into DC, you see someone playing guitar, you throw them some money, we carry change, and that's easy to do. Do you have like a feature where it's just like you can give 5, 10, 15 cents, whatever the case may be? Because I'll do that.
You want mine?
I'll do that all day long before I give maybe like, it's a lot easier to get 25 cents 10 times than it is to get $1.
Exactly, that's the thing. And currently right now, we don't have that function on this one because we're just looking to gain like that knowledge that people will actually use a new streaming service. Because, you know, we don't want to be really an or, but more so an and right now. We want people to just put us in their rotation, just to put us there. Even if you just view us like five times a week, we don't really care if you came there 5 times a week. And with that tipping thing, it's actually, I thought that was me. So like, there's no real, like I was saying, there's no real limit. So yeah, that tipping 25 cents, or if you just want to tip a penny, with an artist, anything counts. If you ask an artist, you don't even necessarily have to pay them anything. They just want you to share their content. That's their biggest thing. So you just putting that extra 25 cents on your support, it goes a long way.
Hey, Damien, over here. I'm Ken. Great job.
Thank you.
So I've been in the music industry for 20 plus.
I got some closer.
So,
Yeah, so all of it's independent. We're not using the only actual major other stuff we're using. The only
The question was what percentage would be material owned by the record labels and what percentage independent. I think Damien said all would be independent, which is good, because otherwise the record labels are going to get you.
with the mixtapes, we're also utilizing mixtapes also. So that content before a lot of those major artists got signed, they're still free for use and can be monetized at any time. Yeah, with that, we're trying to sort of pre-store the database to pick up like specific songs that are under that copyright, like, you know, the long list where it tells you everything is copywritten, and we're trying to figure out a way to connect that to where if somebody uploads something and we know it has that copyright under it, that we can say no, you don't own that, and if you can prove your ownership for it, then we can go about it that way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very tricky, but for sure. Thank you.
All right, let's try this. So my name is Jameson. Good presentation. I had a question. Some technology that I've noticed some airports doing is that when you go in and you try to, say, get more Wi-Fi from them, they're going to charge you $1. And when you click that link off their Wi-Fi login, it takes you directly to the App Store. And then you can just buy it directly through the App Store. Is that something that you are looking into on how me as a consumer can then go in and donate, you know, or tip my 25 cents? Or like how is me as a consumer then being able to pay you?
Okay, yeah, so it's just a button. You just click the button and you put the amount that you decide to tip, and then from there we get out 33% directly out of it. So in real time, we get out 33%, that artist gets their 67%, and that transaction is like that. So it's seamless, it's just right within the application.
Is that something like where, like with the App Store, I know that it'll tie directly to my account and everything's paid for. So with your service, do I then need to go in and load all my, you know, say credit card information into it, or how is that being processed?
No, because currently when you use like your iPhone, if you go to input your credit card information, it's already preloaded onto your phone if you already use it somewhere else within that iPhone. So you can just connect it right there. Let's see this thing.
I'm hopeful that it'll stay on. Hi, my name is Sally. Quick question about, well, I'm wondering in terms of like when you want to pay an artist, maybe if it might be possible for you to partner with someone like Venmo, who makes it really easy to send like smaller amounts, where there's not a bunch of transaction fees. And then if that's not possible, because that's kind of like that would be a big partnership. But if that's not, maybe if folks can buy credits and maybe they can buy 10 at a time and you could send 25 cents because that's like a credit or something like that. And that way people buy in bulk and then they can distribute as they want to.
Good
just
idea.
like food for
I've never
thought.
thought about that, but I'm definitely noting that now. That makes sense. Thank you.
It was very similar, just getting rid of the transaction charges. You got a 25-cent charge, costs you 40 cents to transact that. So you got to figure out that method for some sort of way to do it without charging big fees.
Okay. We have time for one more question. Anybody?
I'm right here.
Yeah?
Have you looked at how cryptocurrencies could be used for your transactions, where you could get around not even needing banking relationships anymore, and you can go exactly the model you're looking at over your phone and social media and just implement Bitcoin, Litecoin, any other cryptocurrency wallet?
Yeah, so in our year 3, because instead of rolling out different features, we're rolling out revenue streams over time each year. So in year 3, we're looking to add a crypto token to where you can earn that token within the social platform, and you can also buy credits that you can just utilize within the platform also. So we are definitely looking at that. It makes the most sense. It's better to utilize crypto when it comes to streaming because it's real time. You can have these very small payments, and you know that that payment is going to get there, and nobody's going to mess with it.
Awesome. And I know we kind of touched on this already, but I do want to ask, just as the last question, that one that sticks in everyone's mind here. What is the #1 way that we here in this room can support you?
Spread the word. That's all. You spread the word. Huh? Oh yeah, come to Final Pitch too. I got Final Pitch on November 14th. You know, if y'all want to pull up, you know, support the guy, I'll be there.
Awesome. Great. Well, fantastic job. Let's give another round of applause for Damien.